Welcome back to my channel, guys. At the time that I'm making this video, it is Gay Pride here in Miami Beach, where I live. So I actually just came home from what they call the Pride Village, which is basically right on the Miami Beach boardwalk, or right off of it, rather. They set up all these tents with vendors and eateries, local eateries, booze, of course, as well as a ton of LGBT resources. Like there's always free STD testing, mental health service related things, local LGBT businesses. It gives them the opportunity to promote themselves and so on. So anyway, I was at the Pride Village because, of course I'm curious and it's walking distance. So I wanted to see what it's about. And I can always count on some comfort food that my body will hate me for later, but that in the moment I will enjoy. I had a fantastic double burger with fries and a sundae, a vanilla sundae. So I was minding my own business, eating, people watching as I like to do. And then I stumbled upon this crosswalk carving that is obviously LGBT inspired. And it was like Groundhog's Day because it looked so familiar. And I realized that it was intentionally created and unveiled during Pride, during this weekend Pride at the time that I'm making this video, as a direct response to what I talked about months ago on my channel. For those of you who missed it, I'll link up to it if you want the full length context, but the Cliff Notes version is the rainbow crosswalk in Miami Beach had been removed by the state of Florida as part of a mandate across the state. Basically, all LGBT imagery in public places versus private property, right? In public places, particularly through the form of, let's say, a rainbow crosswalk, a rainbow marker at the corner of a street, all of that has been proactively removed by the state of Florida. And so in Miami Beach, they had excavated, literally, like they dug into the ground and removed this ingrained crosswalk, this pavement rather, back in October 2025. And so I had made a video about it. And so here I am eating my burger at Gay Pride in Miami Beach, and I see a reenactment, a reinstallation of this crosswalk. I think it's very interesting that Miami Beach's local government decided to continue this, I guess, fight from last year, 2025, when they petitioned to keep this crosswalk, citing that the state of Florida didn't have the jurisdiction or the right to make this mandate appear in Miami. But the state of Florida ended up doing it anyway, if I remember right, like in the middle of the night. So this is sort of like Miami Beach's way of pushing back through a way that they can legally get away with, because it's not a true crosswalk on a street that the government of Florida was claiming, could impact traffic or could be a safety hazard, which is obviously a stretch of the imagination. This new crosswalk technically is in a pedestrian only zone. So I suppose it's like a legal loophole where they could get away with recreating it. I also just find it so sassy and petty that it looks, from memory, it looks exactly like the previous crosswalk, but also it's the exact same size, just slightly over, because it's not on the street this time. Leave it to the gays to really embody the saying that revenge is a dish best served cold. Now, of course, there are all kinds of reactions to this, particularly on social media, all the usual suspects. There are people who think this is fantastic, that it's a way to sort of undo what the government of Florida did across the state with these markers of LGBT representation in public places. And then, of course, there are the people who say this is a waste of tax dollars, which is a fair argument in that this apparently cost $100,000 at least. At the same time, a fair rebuttal to that argument is that the original excavation, of the rainbow crosswalk that wasn't bothering anybody, it was just sitting there on the road, that excavation and then, refilling the road with, I guess, asphalt, that probably cost the same amount, if not more. I remember that it was such a production. I had talked about that in my last video on this subject, that I just happened to be walking through the neighborhood and I saw this huge construction production in the middle of the night. I feel like it was after sunset that I was just walking around, and all these bulldozers out of nowhere creating mayhem in the middle of the busiest tourist street in all of Miami, Ocean Drive. So, haters gonna hate, but winners are gonna navigate. Oh, that was a good one. That second part, I should trademark that or something. But that's what happened. I'm very curious what you guys think in the comments. Again, I don't have a dog in the fight of rainbow crosswalks. I care more about things like legislation that affect gay people and LGBT people, but I also understand the significance of public representation and, more importantly, the removal, the erasure, the intentional erasure of that kind of representation. So, I thought when I last made that video, I thought this story was over. I thought that crosswalk was a thing of the past. But I have to say, it was a pleasant surprise to see that the local government of Miami Beach was like, no, we're not going to give this one up. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below.